Hey guys, Donnie here with On the Record. Today I'm reviewing the Gator BAK aluminum pedal board, the large version in white. And we're going to go through a pedal board build and maybe give you guys some tips you can use. Okay, back in a sec. Okay guys, so like I said, this is the Gator BAK aluminum pedal board. I purchased one in white. Essentially, if you haven't seen some of my other videos, my band we typically do two types of gigs. One would be full rock trio, and then another one would be more of an acoustic, not really acoustic, but just a duo, just a couple of guitars and singers. And so I had a smaller pedal train Metro 16. No, yeah, Metro 16 that I was using, but I wanted to add a little bit to it. I picked up a Trace Elliott Transit A acoustic pre, and I wanted everything to fit on a board. So I'm retiring that board, and I picked up this. So again, this is the Gator aluminum case. The case itself is very nice. It's a soft case. It's got some reinforcement on the top here to help protect your pedals. Nice heavy-duty zippers. And I will say the case is probably one of the most impressive parts of the kit here. So then when we open it up, pretty much no frills. You've got a pouch in here to store cords or whatever. And then the board itself is pretty no frills. It's one piece of aluminum, and then it's just extruded. So it's one piece bent. It's got a pretty nice rise on it, and it has these cutouts, to run your patch cables and your power cables through. And then on the underside, it comes with a, and this is metal too. I believe it's aluminum. It comes with a bracket to hold whatever pedal power supply you're using. So this is roughly 24 by 10 or 11 inches. It's not terribly small. I mean, it is their large version, but it's perfect size for the pedals I need to put on it. And it's solid. It's got a nice rise, so it'll be comfortable whenever you're trying to get to the pedals on the second row. A couple things that I don't necessarily like about it, and these are just a little nitpicky, but the fit and finish on the edges, they're a little rough. I mean, I feel like they could polish these edges a little bit more just to give it a nicer finish. The other thing that I don't like necessarily are these slots are not big enough to fit a pancake connector in. So when I say pancake connector, I'm speaking about one of these. And those are pretty much exclusively what I use, other than pedal couplers, on my rig. So, which means that I'll be running all of my patch cables up above the board. It's not that big of a deal. It's just it would be nice to be able to have these holes accommodate the pancake connectors, as well as the straight and the L connectors. So that's it as far as the board. Like I said, it's pretty no frills. Definitely heavy duty. This thing will last a lifetime. Fairly lightweight. It's made out of aluminum, and that's it. There's not much else to say about the board. You do have some access holes here in the front of the board. I'm not inclined to use those, but they're there if you want them. If you wanted to run your power out here, you could. But all in all, just a well-constructed board. A couple of minor things that I don't like so much about it, but not enough to return it or anything. I still the board's going to suit my needs very well. So, having said that, I think I've got enough time in this video. I'd like to do maybe a 3 or 4 parter where we build this board and I show you some of the tips and tricks I've used over the years. So let me take you down to the floor and we'll start talking about the board build itself. Okay, back in a second. The first thing I've done here is just kind of done a rough layout of the pedals I'm going to use on this board, and just put them approximately where I want them, where they make the most sense for me, playing. My boost, my soul food, and my delay, those are pedals that I need access to a lot, so I want those in front. My reverb's always on. My tuner, that you're only going to hit that every once in a while. My Shure wireless unit, that's once it's on, it's on. And then my acoustic pre, obviously I'm going to want easy access to all of the effects for that. One thing I need to keep in mind with this particular rig is I need to make sure that whatever I need to plug in the back of the acoustic pre, I've got enough access to do. So these are the pedals I currently have for the board. However, I'm also adding a Dan Electro Money Laundry. It's basically a Leslie type pedal, and that will go after my reverb. Those two particular pedals both have the jacks in the back, so that'll make it pretty easy. And then I've ordered some more of these GLS pancake connectors, so I'll be making any patch cables where I need them, obviously using the pedal couplers where I can. And I've also ordered some TRS and 1/4 inch jacks and a blank pedal. So what I'm going to do is build a junction box to where I can have all of this plugged in and on the board, and then when I'm at a gig, all I have to do is set up my board, plug in my 1/4 inch to my amp, and then my quarter inch TRS to the mixer for the acoustic, and I'm good to go. So it just makes things a little bit cleaner and easier for me. Those things are on the way, so we'll put those in part 2. So at this point, like I said, I'm just basically laying things out. I'm also keeping in mind how I want my chain. So you can put your pedals in any variation you want as far as signal path, but it tends to work best if you put your boosts and your overdrives, distortions. If you've got some modulation, which I don't really in this, then those would go next. Then your delays and reverbs, and I don't know if the Leslie, if that should be last in the chain. It kind of makes sense to me since that's where an actual Leslie speaker would be, and I want to affect everything that's in my signal path. I want I want the Leslie pedal to demonstrate that. So that's how I'm going to set it up initially, and maybe we'll change it around, maybe not. That's a fun thing about pedal boards is if you don't like the sound you're getting out of your current setup, it's easy enough to just kind of change things around and see what works for you. So so that's where it stands right now. I'm going to wrap it up right here, guys. And then in part 2, I'll talk about how I attach the pedals, and we'll talk about soldering patch cables as well, and maybe go to the underneath and get that all set up. So that's part 1, so this is part 1, and we'll be back with part 2 in a bit. Okay, thanks.